contact doctors if they see opioid prescriptions written for more than what is necessary. Patients will also receive pain medication that works for a shorter period. These changes are expected by next February.
Hurricane Maria continues to carve out a path of destruction in the Caribbean. Today, the storm thrashed parts of the Dominican Republic with heavy rain and powerful wind. Maria passed just off the east coast today. Rain totals could approach 19 inches. And new video shows the widespread destruction across Puerto Rico. There are downed trees, widespread flooding, and twisted power lines just about everywhere you look. The force of the storm knocked out the island's entire energy grid, everyone in the dark. The governor is imposing a nightly curfew for the island's nearly 3.5 million residents. More than 12,000 people are in shelters across Puerto Rico tonight. NBC5 First Alert Chief Meteorologist Tom Messner is tracking Maria. And Tom, who's next in the line of fire?
Looks like the Turks and the Caicos next in the line of fire here. I mean, they're getting it in the Dominican Republic right now. Certainly no doubt about that. Here is the latest. 5 o'clock advisory is in. Winds sustained 120 miles an hour. It's moving northwest at 9 at last check. Dominican Republic is right here. This is the eye of the storm. This is way too close for comfort. They're going to have some serious erosion along the beach there. They're going to have flooding. It's raining like crazy, and it's pretty darn windy. Turks and the Caicos right here. So let's put a track on this thing, let you know where it's going. It's a Category 3 storm. It's not going to be a direct hit on the Turks and the Caicos, but they are going to have their share of wave problems. They're going to get a lot of rain there too. Category 3 goes by, then it takes a bit of a right-hand turn, and a little bit more of a right-hand turn than we were looking at, say, at this time yesterday. That could spell good news for us here in the lower 48. We'll continue to watch that for you, certainly, no doubt. Jose, it's still out there. It's a tropical storm, winds at 50 miles an hour. The thing about this disturbance is it's going nowhere. It's stationary. Because of that, we've got some clouds in some of our backyards, especially southern Vermont and also southern New Hampshire. What does that mean for us tomorrow and beyond? Well, don't expect to see a lot of clouds, just kind of a hint there. First Alert weather coming up for you in just a couple of minutes here.
Members of the Vermont National Guard are back home after traveling to Texas to assist with Hurricane Harvey relief efforts. A public affairs team of both Vermont Army and Air National Guardsmen were part of the mission. They supported public affairs and conducted media operations. Officials say it was unlike anything they had seen before, and it also made them better prepared the next time they're called on.
Taught them some things that we do in Vermont. They showed us a few things they do in Texas, and I think all in all, despite it being a tragic situation, I think that your National Guard public affairs team from Vermont is going to be better versed the next time they have a mission to support.
The group returned back to Vermont on Sunday.
Today, President Trump dealt an economic blow to North Korea. New sanctions stopping the United States from doing business with anyone who trades with North Korea. It's an effort to stop North Korea's nuclear weapons program. Here's NBC's Blaine Alexander.
Today, President Trump hitting North Korea with severe new sanctions and issuing an ultimatum to the world. If you do business with Kim Jong-un, the U.S. will not do business with you.
It is unacceptable that others financially support this criminal rogue regime.
Sitting with the leaders of South Korea and Japan, the president announcing an executive order that cuts off any country that gets its goods or labor from North Korea.
Tolerance for this disgraceful practice must end now.
And this time, even China signed on after President Trump spent months calling for the country to help pressure its close ally.
That was a somewhat unexpected move, and we appreciate it.
Another stab at diplomacy from a president who, in the past, said sanctions with North Korea would not work, and on the heels of this direct military threat.
But if it is forced to defend itself or its allies, we will have no choice but to totally destroy North Korea.
Now, instead of a military strike, dealing a blow to North Korea's already wavering economy.
I think this is geared mainly toward getting the North Koreans to the table.
Forcing North Korea to choose between saving its nuclear program or saving its economy.
And in the past, North Korea has been dismissive of President Trump's words, most recently likening them to a barking dog. Now, the U.S. entered the General Assembly saying that it was running out of diplomatic options and would have no problem turning things over to the Pentagon to develop its own plan. Blaine Alexander, NBC News, the White House.
A study out tonight says New York and Vermont could lose significant federal funding if Congress repeals and replaces Obamacare. The nonpartisan Kaiser Family Foundation took a close look at the Republican-backed Graham-Cassidy bill. The study says states that expanded Medicaid to serve more low-income adults under Obamacare would face a cut of around 11% from the year 2020 to the year 2026. Now, according to the study, New York, Vermont, Oregon, Connecticut, and Minnesota would lose the largest percentage of money. But states like Mississippi, Texas, Kansas, Georgia, South Dakota, and Tennessee would get more federal funding. Those are states that did not expand Medicaid, but the study says gains in those states could vanish over time. Vermont Governor Phil Scott is well aware of what's at stake. 1/3 of his residents are on some form of Medicaid. Governor Scott is one of several Republican governors hoping to see Graham-Cassidy go down to defeat in the Senate next week.
As is proposed, it would have a detrimental effect on Vermont. There'd be less money coming into Vermont. We rely heavily on federal funding, so even a small tweak would have large ramifications for us. As well, there's a lot of details that are missing, and those details are going to matter to us.
Governor Scott said any health reform must have bipartisan support to succeed long term. Neither the GOP bill up for a vote next week nor Senator Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All plan have been analyzed yet by the Congressional Budget Office.
Relaxed standards are coming for school nurses in New Hampshire. A legislative committee voted today to ease qualifications. School districts will be allowed to work around a state law requiring nurses have a bachelor's degree and 3 years of pediatric experience. That threshold has made hiring difficult in New Hampshire. Now schools can instead consider nurses with associate's degrees, but they'll still have to get a bachelor's or master's degree within 6 years. The new standards take effect immediately.
A good deed gets punished. Next at 5, why a good Samaritan says she was beaten up.
Plus, a new way to stop an alarming trend, kids being left in hot cars.
And then new at 5:30, why Burlington says it has to kick out some homeless campers.
Now, live, local, late-breaking coverage continues. You're watching NBC5 News.
Live right now, the desperate search for survivors continues in Mexico City. This is a look from the effort underway after the earthquake rocked the city on Tuesday. Mexico's Navy says there are no missing children at a collapsed Mexico City school where rescuers have been hunting for a girl they believe to be trapped, but there is evidence of an adult who may still be alive.
This story is going to bother you. A Temple University student is recovering from injuries she suffered trying to help a group of bullied teenagers. Megan Milligan was riding on a SEPTA train in Philadelphia on Tuesday when she saw a group of teens bullying a smaller group of riders. You can see it all going on right here. When Milligan spoke up and tried to stop the bullying, the larger group turned on her, hitting her in the face and head.
It's not okay to just stand by and let somebody be hassled and attacked and bullied. Like, we're supposed to be like the city of brotherly love. We really need to come together and stand up for people more.
Way to go, Megan Milligan. But Milligan says as many as 30 passengers watched as she was attacked, and get this, no one stepped in to stop the assault.
That's disturbing.
I know. Well, a Pennsylvania couple says they were robbed at their wedding by the DJ.
Yeah, listen to this. The newlyweds had more than 100 guests, but at the end of the night, they went home with only 15 cards. Reporter Brittany Hoke spoke with the couple.
He's saying that he didn't take as much as he actually did take. It's not how the Karaseks planned to spend their first months of marriage, court hearings, and trying to track down how much money they say their DJ stole from them at their July wedding.
Most of my guests did come forward and say how much they gave us, so it was nice that we didn't have to go and ask them.
They say about $4,800 was taken out of their cards. Guests later told them their DJ, Edward McCarty, kept the card box behind his DJ booth.
People were telling me now that they had to give him their cards to give, and he was putting them in the box.
McCarty told police he took the money because of financial problems, but claims he only took about $600. Since the story first aired, the Karaseks say other couples have reached out, now wondering if McCarty stole from them too. The newlyweds hoping they'll soon be able to put all of this behind them.
I just hope that we get our money back and he never gets to DJ again.
I just want to put a new roof on my house.
Well, at least he can laugh about it. That was Brittany Hoke reporting. McCarty is charged with receiving stolen property and theft.
Now, First Alert Weather with Chief Meteorologist Tom Messner.
Hey, I can't lie to you. I'm running out of words here. I mean, we've done it again. Another beautiful day. Temperatures way above where they ought to be. Couple of clouds in the sky. That's about it. This is going to continue, but temperatures actually going up as we head into the weekend. Wow, 77 degrees Burlington right now. We've got a north wind at about 13. That made it feel a little bit better out there. The planner, if you're heading out tonight, you're in good shape. An hour from now, a little less than that, really. We're still in the 70s. Then we slip back into the 60s, eventually the 50s, so a little bit cooler for some of us tonight. On the weather map tonight, current temperatures, we've got 70s all over the place, from Keene to Rutland to Middlebury. Plattsburgh 77, same thing right now in Messina. Let's talk about the temperature trend. Where are we going for temps? Well, I mentioned we're going up by the weekend. Thinking 79 tomorrow. So temperature-wise, very similar to what today was all about. 83 Saturday, we'll see a boatload of sunshine. Then we go to 87 for a couple of days, Sunday into Monday. Thinking probably, I mean, if this verifies, we will see record high temperatures around here on both those days. Even on Tuesday, the record for that day is 84 degrees. So we're still flirting with the record. Temperatures then come down a little bit from there. But you know what? It's still unseasonably mild. I got to show you where the real warm stuff is, if not hot. Down to the south, yes, but also off to the west. Look at Omaha, Nebraska, 91 degrees. Chicago, 94 degrees. That is a record for the date there. Locally, Storm Tracker, we've got some clouds in southern Vermont, southern New Hampshire. As expected, you come to the north and we see more sunshine. Just a few high clouds around, and these clouds are still because of Tropical Storm Jose. This thing is not moving. It is stationary, which means it keeps just kind of spinning around. As a matter of fact, just looking at some of the wind gusts happening in Nantucket, just south of the Cape here, 38 miles an hour-ish, right around there. Continues to rain. In fact, parts of the Cape could see another 1 to 2 inches before this thing finally does leave. You can see how it's just kind of cranking around, throwing clouds back our way, mainly high clouds, but again, affecting, not in a big way, but in a way, southern Vermont and southern New Hampshire. Well, as we think about tomorrow, any fog first thing tomorrow morning? We've seen a lot of fog the last few days in the normally foggy areas, the valley locations normally. Anyway, that's going to burn off. Otherwise, sunshine tomorrow. It's going to be a beautiful day. High temperature about 79 in the Champlain Valley. So Futurecast, 7:30 tonight. There's not much going on. We will take you right to the overnight. Here comes your tomorrow. There is not much going on. That is a lot of sunshine, everybody. Tomorrow night's going to be mainly clear. Morning times again. Figure you're going to find some fog around. Saturday's going to be a beautiful day and temperatures continuing to come up. What a weekend on the way. Mainly clear in the Champlain Valley tonight. A few more clouds on down to the south. Some patchy fog late. 52 degrees, that's it for a low. Here comes your tomorrow. It's going to be sunny after any fog burns off. 77, a popular number from Plattsburgh to Saranac Lake, E-Town, also into Ticonderoga. How about Burlington? 79 degrees there. Sunshine in Warren, 76, 79 St. Johnsbury. More sunshine on the way for places like Springfield. Mostly sunny in Ludlow, along with Brattleboro, where it'll be 79 degrees. 5-day forecast, keying in on the Burlington area here. Don't forget fall arriving tomorrow. 79 to 83 degrees on Saturday to 87 on Sunday. A lot of sunshine really all these days. Monday we're going to do an 87 again. Tuesday mix of sun and clouds, 84. Wednesday looks dry, 80. And get this, you guys, the chance for showers coming in next Thursday. We will watch that for you.